We said to have an extraordinary life, you gotta have an extraordinary psychology, right? Extraordinary psychology means you got to live in an extraordinary state. To be an extraordinary state, you got to condition your nervous system, your body, your physiology and focus to be at their best. Then to do that, though you can do that, why doesn't everybody? Not because you can't, we all have the ability. It's because of our standards. Think about your own life. I know there have been areas in your life where some point in time you just shifted and you raised the standard in your life. Change, because whatever people have their identity attached to, they live, we live who we believe we are. My journey from here to there was lonely. The reason I was willing to be wrong and admit wrong so that I could grow, and so that I could change. You see, growth is a result of bad habits dropped, wrong priorities changed, and new ways of thinking embraced. It happens only when we question ourselves enough to ask serious questions from others. The people who do not grow are unwilling to ask themselves or others hard questions. They are unwilling to leave what they have known and practiced. They are not willing to be wrong so they can discover what is right. Therefore, they cling to right and their lives turn out wrong. How sad. We get what we're looking for. We filter out everything else in our life going to get what you're looking for, even if it doesn't even exist, even if it's not even there. If you're looking for negatives, if you're looking for setbacks, if you're looking to be looked over, you will find it, even though it's not supposed to be there. But if you're looking for victory, for winning, for recruits, for people to change your life, for magic moments, you will find them. If you're decide what's most important to you, your brain goes after it. Surrender of being right enables us to ask questions that others can answer and add value to us. Surrender of being right is the prerequisite to finding right. I believe that with all my heart. Music. And here's what I know. I never want to get to the place where I've got it all figured out. I still want to keep learning. I still want to keep growing. And I still want to be a student. And I still want to be on a learning curve. And I still want to value people. And I still want to walk into my life and say, look, you have something that if I could just ask the right question, you could impart to me, that would help me, that would allow me to become a better person myself. Ego is the anesthesia. Gonna win. I don't mean just this contest. I don't mean the contest. I mean, I'm going to win. I'm going to win. My life is going to win. There's going to be a victorious life here, because listen to me, the price you pay for losing here is too extreme. You have to carry the burden of failure the rest of your life. You carry that around with you. If you fail here, the biggest thing that breaks my heart is you feel the spirit right now. And then when you get back, these dream stealers run into you and they start to steal your dream, and you quit, you give up. You got to decide, I'm going to win. You got to decide that the failure part of carrying failure, you've been exposed to what your life could be. If you fail here, the price is extreme. It's forever. You carry the failure forever. I'm being honest with you. I meet people oftentimes and say, I was in WFG, he really changed my life for this meeting, but, and they put their heads down. They've been carrying it. They carry it. They see these Facebooks and Instagrams and what we're doing. You got to know you're going to win. You got to sell out. Yeah, I'm telling you, you got to become a sellout. You need to sell out. You need to get obsessed. You got to get relentless. You got to be a road dog. You got to get intense. That's what you got to do. There's some dream stealers. You need to look out for these, for I don't want them to happen to you. Ready, say yes. Music. Dream stealer number one, that'll take you out of here. Lack of confidence or faith, lack past that have always believed in you, and you carry them with you everywhere. They're with you anyway. Acknowledge them. If you don't believe that, honor them. Honor God. Honor these people who believed in you with your magnificent life. Honor them. Don't give in to lack of belief, lack of confidence. Don't ever do that again. Don't do it in WFG or out of WFG. You were made to do something great. You're special. You were made in the image of God. Something awesome supposed to happen for you. And those of you that have made something awesome happen, something even more awesome supposed to happen for you. I would say for the last 45 years, we've told psychologists have been certainly to blame for this, at least in part. You're okay the way you are. That's what we tell young people. Oh, you're okay the way you are. It's like, and there's nothing worse than you can tell someone who's young than that, especially if they're miserable, you know, and lots of them, well, if they're miserable, them to become continually more than they are, to see what they could be. And well, and I think that's part of the great message of the West, is that's the ethical requirement of individual being in the proper sense, is to constantly know that you're not what you could be, to take responsibility for that, and to commit yourself like body and soul to the attainment of that ideal. So I have this thing that I've been promoting called No Whining Wednesdays. Wednesday, you cannot whine, complain, or criticize, and people like, well, what is whining? Whatever you think it is, don't do it. And every time you do it, you have to put a quarter in a jar. If you whine about anything, I'm tired by the mean one. Why don't you? What happened? Everyone of them will cost you a quarter. Or complaining, why don't you? Why do you always? How come you? I always. They never cost you a quarter. Then last week I had people send me pictures of their jaws of quarters. Oh my God. But what they said to me also was, this was wonderful, because I was never ever aware of how much whining and complaining and criticizing I do now. I've got mothers doing it with their children. So Wednesday is No Whining Wednesday. We need to practice that. We need to stop whining. Department for 7 years. Y'all don't know I'm dangerous to accounting. I'm just dangerous. And I'm in collections. And you know you should never put a broke person in collection, never. because everybody's reasons sound good to me. I'm funny, but it was real. Not only did I say, girl, don't you worry about paying that, I'm going to take your name off the list. Somebody went to jail because I was including. I got fired from 5 different jobs, and then I got pregnant with my son unexpectedly. And then at 8 months, my son's father went to prison. I had to get on government's assistance to have my baby. I was on WIC, Women, Infant, and Children, to feed my child. And when my son was 8 months old, I went to the ATM to get $20 out the bank because I didn't have any Pampers for him. And in order to get $20 out, she got that $20 and I had $11.42, and I still can't tell the story without getting emotional. Because of my story, for 2 days, I had to wrap my son in a towel. But something happened, Steve. In those 2 days, I was at rock bottom. I was broke, and I was broke in Inglewood, California. My son laying on his back at 8 months. I have a towel over him, and I have my hand on his stomach, saying, don't you worry, Jaylani, mommy will never be this broke again. And I made a decision. I was bankrupt, and every stinking thinking I had, I was bankrupt, and trying to protect my pride, I was bankrupt, and trying to be all that in a bag of chips and Ebola grits falsified. I was bankrupt and trying to not ask anyone for help. I was bankrupt in everything that was holding me and keeping me where I was. I've always talked a good game, but I wasn't doing anything with my gift and all that thing about potential. I was tired of having potential. I wanted to have my now, and I looked at that baby at 8 months and I said, I want to transform your life because you didn't ask to come into this chaos as an African-American male child in South Central Los Angeles with a single mother whose father's in prison. He had a 66% chance of going to prison himself. Not on my watch, not on my watch. So if I have to be willing to drastically transform myself so that I can become the woman that I know I can be, right? And that's what I began to do. I was radical. What did you do, Lisa? What did you do to change your life? First, I realized I couldn't grow with people who were struggling like me. That hole, I don't want to leave nobody behind. No, I don't want to stay with y'all, right? You only. You don't even want to be here. I don't want to be the queen of this block. Yeah, and I became okay with the fact that it doesn't make me any less committed to my community, committed to my culture, committed to my family. The best thing I can do for you is not stay here with you. That's right. When I've got that, I went to places I'd never seen before. I went to conferences where people were talking about money, talking about prosperity, yet talking about it was like no habla español. What are y'all talking about? Royce and PPMS and term agreements and capital fundraising and bottom lines. And what is it? I'm going to stay until I learn what you're talking about. I went to the same conference 42 times, and there I raised $532,000 in capital for my company, Start My Dream, and my dream was to transform teen lives. I want to teach teens how to fall madly in love with themselves and how to make integrity-based decisions, and I got it funded, and I started working, and that was the beginning of me rescuing myself. I realized that I am my rescue. No one else is my rescuer.